What's up, guys? This is Nick from TruthBlitz, and this gentleman right here needs no introduction. If you're in the crypto space and you're investing in ICOs, you probably have heard of Mike B. So what's going on, Mike?
Hey, not much, guys. Thanks for having me, Nick.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for doing it. Seriously. So what's been going on?
Not much. Just recently got back from vacation and then got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I was kind of burnt out on ICOs and stuff before I left, and taking some time off was really good because I'm back.
Right. Yeah, you need that reboot sometimes. And even I'm getting burnt out, and I'm not, as far as investing in ICOs, I don't do the amount of research and read the amount of white papers you do. I do some, but I know you're like day and night, man. You're doing this stuff, and you're in a different time zone than me. So it's like I think you wake up probably around 3 in the morning my time, 2 in the morning, and then seems like you're on the grind all the time. So
yeah, I work a bunch.
Yeah,
but I like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. This I tell you what, I've only been in the crypto space since February this year, and it's been like balls to the wall since I, and it's crazy how I got started. I got started with I've known about Bitcoin since 2011, and God, I wish I bought back then. But, I started with one of those free faucets that gives you like 500 Satoshis a day. And, and then I started buying from Coinbase and, and just got started from there. But, got into the ICO thing, and I missed Veritasium. I missed that one by a couple days, but I got in afterwards, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Veritasium. So I know, there's so many people who still try to put out this FUD and saying it's a scam, and they have no faith in it, and I don't agree with that at all because I'm invested in it. I'm trying to acquire more, as are you, and I know you did your OMG live stream a few days back, and you talked about how, and we talked about this in an email too, about how you were, you were selling off your Veri to buy OMG, and then you're gonna get back. That the ultimate goal is to acquire more Veritasium. Now, I know Reggie is working hard behind the scenes on the deal with Jamaica, and I don't know, we've yet to find out what the other top 10 exchanges that he's in deals making deals with, but are you a little worried that maybe the price pop might happen? We might get a big price pop in Veritasium before OMG sees, because you're estimating maybe about December for OMG. We just saw a little pop last night, but nothing.
Yeah. So I calculated that if it goes to anywhere where I think it could be, maybe we're looking at possibly 20 times for OMG in that period. Something like that, if the information is right, and it could be because the project has a big deliverable at that time. They already have some early success. If you look at the trend line for the price movement on it, it's going at pretty much at a 45-degree angle up.
Yeah.
So it's very steep. So yeah, I looked into that, but even if Veritasium doubled, I would still have the opportunity to buy a lot more than I had just recently. So
right.
I did calculate some error into that, and that's when I said, okay, I'm good to go on this. I'm willing to take a chance.
Right. Yeah, that was the only thing that that stopped me, because I honestly plan to, I said, that's a good idea. I'm gonna really consider doing the same thing you're doing. And but then you got people like Bix Weir, who says that who's of the belief that Veritasium is going to see a huge price pop very soon. And then Cliff High's data has it at 1-to-1 with Bitcoin next year. I don't know when next year, but and I would love to see that. But I'm just a little worried that if I was to do that, what if we see Veritasium go to $500, in October or something like that, it's never a sure thing in this space. You got to take a risk. It's all about risk versus reward, and But I think I told you. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell off half my Veri for OMG. That way, either way, I'll make out a little or I won't, and
Yeah.
but I like that strategy. I think it's a good strategy. And I know you do your research. So if there's, if I was to listen to anybody's strategy and follow anybody's strategy, it would be yours because, like I said, you do your research, and anybody who follows you knows you do your research. You make it your business to know what you're doing.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you've been successful. Yeah, no problem, man. So, any inkling on what that top 10 exchange might be? Any guesses?
Yeah. This is kind of funny because there's a similar situation in work where I was working with this guy. He's a project manager, and he wanted his project pushed through. And so he was telling me, oh, this is a top 5 project in the company. It's very, very important. And what that tells me is it's number 5 out of the top 5, that he just wants to make it sound more important than it is. So, yeah, and Reggie, he obviously has to sell his product, right? So I was thinking that it's somewhere in the 9-10 position, somewhere in the lower portion. You're not going to go straight to the top.
Right.
So from what all I can gather, all the information that I have, and I have no inside information on this, so Reggie didn't tell me, nobody told me. I think it is the Frankfurt Stock Exchange.
It's funny you say that. I was thinking, honestly, I was thinking the same thing. I had had a discussion with us about this with somebody, and they thought it was Germany as well, and we were both kind of that belief. Obviously, nobody knows for sure, but yeah, it's funny, man. And yeah, man. I mean, for all the FUD that's out there, Crypto Blood, put it to me the best way. I think it was in one of our interviews that Reggie has a huge reputation to uphold. He's been in the finance and in markets for a long time. And for him to come out and just blatantly scam people and totally trash his reputation, that's all a man has is his reputation. You know what I mean? Right. Are you a scumbag or are you a stand-up guy? And I don't think he's gonna make himself a scumbag to screw people over. That's my belief.
Yeah, and he values his family as well. A lot of people, they had a problem with him bringing his sons into the business, which I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that's a great thing, so that they can learn from him.
Right.
So I mean, him bringing his sons in and having his family involved in this, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
I would agree with that for sure. Because and people fail to realize he's got multiple patents. He's been trying to get this going for a long time. So I don't I don't tend to listen to FUD. I do my own research and make my own my own decisions based on what I find. I don't like to just you listen to the FUD. You're gonna first of all, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Second of all, you're gonna make stupid decisions. So
definitely. Yeah.
So I mean that's where I'm at with Veri. I think the project has very long legs, and I think it's going to be massive. I really do. And I know we had the incident with the hack, and there was the dump, and I was watching that dump live when that happened, and I was oh man, dude, that was crazy. Yeah, but do I wish I sold at 1.1 ETH? Yeah, because then I could have more than doubled my position. But it is what it is. I can't cry over spilled milk. So I'm just going to keep trying to do what you're doing, and that's acquiring more because I believe in that project, and I think he's going to do great things, especially when we see success with Jamaica. I think things are going to really happen at a rapid pace once that goes live.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize, I've had a video out about how I believe it's the next Amazon. What they don't realize is that it's not the fact that Veritasium is not into books or it's not a sale platform. It's the business model of Veritasium. So they're targeting the financial sector like Amazon targeted books.
Right.
And eventually they're going to branch out into other sectors like Amazon did. You can tell this by the way Reggie talks about Bezos in his videos. So you can, at least for me, it's clear on what his strategy is. And 10, 20 years from now, like you said, I think it's going to be huge.
Right.
Absolutely massive.
Right. Yeah. You know, like I said, I'm just trying to acquire as much as possible. I get so mad at myself for not researching and starting the amount of research I do today, you know, maybe just a few weeks earlier, because I would have made the ICO. But that's missing that is what put my ass into gear. Let's put it that way. That's right around the time I subscribed to your channel and started following you. I think at the time you had like 1,000 subscribers, maybe just under that actually. And I was like, man, I don't want to miss the next big one. So I, you know, I remember I contacted Reggie. I didn't really know anything about this, about how ICOs works too much back then. I contacted him and asked him, you know, how can I, you know, can I still get in? Can I still buy? And he gave me instructions on how to do Ether Delta. And, you know, so I did that and I got into 10 to 1. So it's a lot better than some people. Some people were buying it close to 1 to 1. And, you know, so I'm grateful. At least I got into that, you know, at that price.
Yeah.
But, so I wanted to ask you this earlier. What's the first ICO you ever participated in?
It was Veritasium.
Oh, it was?
So
okay.
Before that I wasn't really too much into it, and I saw it, and again, like you, I wish I got in. Well, I got in the ICO, but I wish I got more.
Right.
I knew a guy who mortgaged his house for Veritasium. It's insane, but he did, and it absolutely nuts. But it paid off for him very nicely.
Yeah.
So.
I would say so. It's funny. I just did like my first disclaimer yesterday when I did the video on I did a video on the Wild ICO, and you know, I figured let me throw a disclaimer in there, and I said don't take out a second mortgage to buy into an ICO, and you know, so that's funny that somebody did that and it paid off. I mean, good for him, because that's huge. He must be doing very well for himself right now.
Yeah.
All right, so now that kind of brings me to Black Moon, which I have a position in now. We talked about that a little bit in an email. So, you know, you said you like that project, and it's kind of a competitor to Veritasium. How so?
In some ways, it is, because they can compete with some of what Veritasium tries to do with the aspects to the financial markets, or the access to the financial markets. I like it. They have a lot of thought that goes into it. The thing is, they have a management fee, right? For it's a very, very low management fee compared to the traditional management fees. And this is the thing that if you look at Veritasium, one of Reggie's selling points is that there is no management fee.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that something like that could come into play later on down the line. But I looked into it. I had seen independent consulting reports of it as well. And from what I had saw or seen, there were some good team members behind the project as well. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a big deal as well.
Yeah, I was of that same belief, and you know, and I was scrutinizing very much anything that I planned on investing in as far as on the ICO phase of it. And you know, I know Jason at 4 lately has been, you know, he's not scrutinizing as much because everything's going up so much that, you know, he's just like, oh, throw a little mud on the wall, see if it sticks. And and but that one, I don't feel like that's as much of a gamble, Black Moon. I think I looked into the team as well, and they seem to have a really good team behind that project. They've also, I think, have been in business for a few years already. So, you know, I feel good about that one. You know, I did a video on that. Like I said, I've only done videos on ICOs that I'm participating in, or that I plan to participate in. So I did like that project. So yeah, I mean that as far as that goes, that's where I'm at with that. I mean, I still suggest people, if you're going to invest, do your own research. Don't take your word for something or my word for something. You know, form your own opinions and see. You know, it all depends on how much ETH you have to spare. You know, like what you're looking for as far as a time frame for a return on your investment. So, you know, there's a lot of factors at play. So you need to really do your own research.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because doing your own research will help you when all the FUD comes out. Because then, if you're confident in your own research,
right,
then you'll know that the FUD is just some temporary thing and it'll blow over.
Right. Speaking of FUD, have you? I know a lot of people want to know this, and I actually do too, because I don't know if I've seen you say it in another video. Did you ever get back into Populous or no?
No.
No.
But it's not because of anything related to the team.
Right.
So during that whole deal, there was a lot of. I got a lot of crazy emails and a lot of crazy shit, and. I basically said I don't want to deal with this anymore because I can't even tell you the things that I received in the email. They were just inappropriate to be sent to me. So I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't want to be a part of that. So I just said, hey, I'm out of this. Stop asking me questions. People totally freaked out, and they went nuts over this. And I mean... You know, if I shut down my channel, people would have thought about some sort of conspiracy theory or whatever. But,
like they took you out?
Yeah, or that I got paid for it or whatever. Yeah. I didn't get paid. But the thing is, these guys, not just with Populous, but any team that's out there, they need a certain period of time to work and to develop whatever they're doing, and it just takes time. And if people are out there just trashing their work, of course it's going to create a lot of negative sentiment. But the fair thing to do is just to ignore it for a while, let it die down, and let them, show the goods. Basically produce something,
right?
And so far Populous has been producing. They got their alpha out.
Yep.
Lot of good early success, so no problems with those guys.
Yeah, I think Populous is going to do well. And I remember I was looking at Populous when the pre-ICO was still live, and obviously we all know it didn't even go to a regular ICO. So I debated, and then when I finally made the decision that I was going to buy in, because at the time I didn't have a lot of Ethereum left, and it was, I think, a 5 ETH minimum. I only had like 4, and there was something else I wanted to invest in. This is earlier on. I wasn't holding as much of anything at the time, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get another ETH, and I'm going to pull the trigger, and then it was sold out. So I followed it still. When you had brokered the deal and you were selling some on Ether Delta, I bought some from you, and then I had bought some more, and then I remember when everything happened, and I got a little worried, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna hold tight. And I remember it was I don't remember what time it was, but I remember you did the video saying you were getting out of Populous. As soon as I saw that video, I jumped on Ether Delta and sold all my Populous because the price.
Oh shit!
The price did tank. But what happened was, I again did my own research after the fact. I ended up buying back in a bigger position at less than I sold it for, so it turned out all right.
Nice.
And I'm still holding it. And then when Cliff did his interview with Stephen Nico Williams, that really put my mind at ease, because once you can actually, Cliff asks the hard questions. You know what I mean? He as we saw with Centra. So, Cliff stands behind that project. They gave Cliff access to the GitHub, and so he's seen the code. That really put my mind at ease about Populous, and it's been, the price has gone up and down. I think we reached 6 something or maybe even $7 each, and it was down to 3 something the other day, but I'm not worried about that because that's a long-term hold for me.
Yeah.
And I want to acquire more. So, but yeah, man, I remember when you put out that video and you're like, I'm getting out of Populous. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need this drama. And I respect that.
It was crazy, dude. It was really, really insane. I got a lot of crazy ass emails about it.
I'm sure
people were trying to call me. There's some dude who is obsessed, and he still tries to call me. So it was just, it just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But the thing about Populous that I find most amazing is not actually their platform, but the data analytics that they're going to have is very good, because they talked about this with Cliff in his interview, but they're not going to have the problem where they have to send out a bunch of sales personnel to try to go and close these deals. They could focus on maybe a small sales staff that can go and build relationships before these businesses need it, so that by the time that they do need the services, the trust is built up there, and they're okay to close these deals. So that is massive. It's invaluable,
right,
in terms of the business that they can do. And I think that's proprietary, at least that part, the data analytics of how they're going to do that, which it's going to be a lot more difficult for other companies to compete with them, because you're going to have to create something like that from scratch, which is not something that you can do overnight.
Right. And Stephen Nico Williams has been in that field for some time. So he knows it seems like he really knows his way around that aspect of the business. So, kudos to him. I think it's going to be wildly successful. And, I'm glad I got back into that one for sure. It seems like a lot of ICOs, I check the ICO websites still, and it really seems like things are kind of really slowing down. Like, all the good ideas have already came out, and there's just not a lot out there anymore as far as anything that really sticks out. Maybe we see a really good one once a month. Not even like super good, not like Veritasium or Populous good, just like, oh yeah, that one's cool, I'll invest in that one. Like, something that screams at you. We just don't, we had that rush late spring and pretty much all throughout most of the summer, and then it really kind of slowed down to a halt. I don't know how you on that same opinion, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And you go on all these websites like ICO Alert or the whatever, something that puts all the ICOs out on a calendar or whatever. And you can see the stuff that's out there. There's 3 different competitors to BlockTix and Eventus, and then you have a bunch of real estate stuff. Nothing that really stands out as being extraordinary.
Yeah, I listened to Cliff's advice and a lot. I never wanted to get involved in any real estate ones because he said that's really not a good industry to invest in. But Proppy was different, and I did invest in Proppy, and even he said it was different. So I did invest in that one. But yeah, there's like 3 or 4 different real estate ones on like ICO Alert right now. There's also, I can't even think. And then there's a bunch of stupid ones. I think I saw one called the Fuck Trump coin. I don't even know what it does. It wasn't clear at all what it does, but that just proves anybody can come out with an ERC20 token and do an ICO. And
yeah, someone has a Game of Thrones token.
What does that do?
I forget what it. I forget, but it's some play on words from the show.
Okay.
So I don't even know what it does, but it's just some ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, that's whatever. I'm not going to invest in it, but let me see. So is there anything coming up that you are excited about?
Yeah, I just put a video up about this one Wand X. It's a decentralized exchange, but so you can use wallets like Pillar should be able to connect into that. But the other interesting thing is that you can create your own token on there that is customized for your own assets. So if you want to leverage or invest all of your assets and represent them with one token, you can do that.
Okay.
Plus, you can do all sorts of other things. You can diversify, so you can create like your own ETF, but it is not the paper ETFs that's created on Wall Street.
Right.
It's a similar concept that is decentralized and not controlled by any one entity, and it's all on the blockchain. So you don't have the problem with ETFs, at least the way I see it, is the way they're structured and who controls them. So if you structure them properly and you don't have any double spending like you don't have on the blockchain, then it could work if you want to invest in that. So you could invest into a basket of cryptocurrencies if you wanted to through that vehicle, or digital assets like you're going to have, like we just spoke about, real estate tokens. Whether you like the idea or not, you can invest in that, or precious metals backed tokens. You can invest into that, and you can get as crazy as you want with it by creating customized tokens. And it's very flexible, and there's a lot of options. I think it's possibly one of the methods that retirement funds will look like, or one of the ways they're going to be structured in the future. So it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that one.
Wow, I haven't heard of that one. That sounds similar to Kyber. Is that?
Yeah. But this one, it's kind of a little bit unheard of. One of the founders of Pillar, because I volunteer for the Pillar community, so
right.
He said, hey, you might want to check this out. It's pretty interesting. So that's how I heard about it. But it's kind of off the record there. There's a number of decentralized exchanges popping up, and I think ultimately it's good that a number of them are coming up, because we do need more than one decentralized exchange. And I think that they're going to eventually replace Kraken, Coinbase, and all of these, because they
right.
provide much more functionality and services, and also privacy and security that's way beyond. They're just better in pretty much every way.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that one. I was planning on now Kyber. A buddy of mine's doing Kyber, and I didn't know you needed to pre-register. I guess the ICOs until the middle of September, but you needed to pre-register, and if you didn't already, you can't get into it now. But have you looked into Kyber at all? I guess Vitalik Buterin is an advisor. Now I know a lot of ICOs say he's an advisor, but he really isn't. And but I don't know if he really is, like he is on OMG a month ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it looked like a good project, but I don't know.
It does, and supposedly it's his last project that he's going to advise on. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard, and it looks good. I'm just not getting into it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, I think that's just a marketing tactic anyway, saying that he's he's an advisor. Yeah. That's just purely marketing, because that's my opinion anyway. But yeah, I mean, I know you do your due diligence, so I'm definitely going to give that Wand X a look. I didn't see that in any of the ICO alert pages, I don't think. You said it's under the radar, so I'm going to definitely check into it. Any inside information that you can or are willing to share about Pillar, or anything that might, plans, roadmap?
I can tell you that the OEM wallet, right, the actual wallet development, it is the absolute highest priority that they can put it at right now. So there's not a whole lot going on other than the team working on that. So they have an announcement. Some of the stuff I'm just not privy to, some of the information. So But I do know based on the community that that is pretty much the only thing that they care about right now. Not saying that they don't care about anything else, but it's definitely the highest priority.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited about that one. I was one of the stupid people that I was being really impatient at the time. Because I invested in the pre-ICO and the ICO, and
Yeah.
at the time, not that I was just getting impatient and got pissed off and said screw it, but I needed funds for something else, so I took a loss because obviously we all know the price went down on Ether Delta afterwards. So I took a loss to buy something else, and then of course the price started rising and I bought back in, and I think it's even went down lower than I bought back in. So whatever, what I have now, I'm going to acquire more again. And I just needed to free up a little bit of funds, but I'm going to acquire more, and that's going to be, I'm just going to hold it. I do once in a while trade. Most of my stuff are for hodling. Most of my assets are anyway.
Yep.
Some medium term, some long term. Some I just like to get for a little bit until the price pops, because we all know usually prices pop pretty good when they hit exchanges on the good ICOs, and just get some profits. But for the most part, I don't like to trade too much. And
Yeah.
actually, I got involved with a bot, and I have been bot trading a little bit. I have some allocated to just that, and it's for fun, and I've been making profits, so it's I do enjoy it. But as far as manual trading and having to read charts all day and stress out, consumed so much time. My wife hated me. So yeah, that's kind of for the birds for me anyway.
Yeah.
But so I contacted you for the food ICO and Foodcoin.
Yep.
And I contacted Crypto Blood, and then the guy who facilitated the group buy, added me in because he told him to, which is great. I'm glad I did. I wish I put in more on that. So you want to talk a little bit about Foodcoin?
Yeah, sure. Foodcoin is interesting because it creates a platform outside of the banking system, and a lot of people don't really understand how important this is, because the banking system, they're just put out some news a week ago or so, that the European Central Bank plans to freeze transactions from troubled banks, which is a problem. Mm-hmm. So if you have a platform and a business that exists currently, like 1000 Eco Farms, which is the pre-existing business for Foodcoin, one of your credit card processors may have been labeled a troubled bank. Okay, so good luck getting your transactions processed. Or it doesn't even need to be that big of a deal. They have 4,700 or more clients. What if a number of those clients have banks that are troubled banks, and they can't sell their product because they can't process the transactions?
Right.
So if you process it on the Ethereum network, you create the additional ability to process transactions regardless of a banking problem. And you can do a bunch of other stuff, like they're tracking the source of food. You can have pretty much a stock market for food. So it's a lot more equal. So the smaller farmer can compete a lot better with a larger farmer. And so I really like the idea. It's something that I think is not getting as much attention as it should get, because a lot of people are focused into the high-tech stuff, or things like 10x that are doing stuff with credit cards, or the financial sector stuff. But I think Foodcoin is really overlooked. I think they're actually doing pretty well, but not as well as they should be. And it's not due to anything on their end. Right. You know what I mean?
I noticed there's another a competitor to them on one of the ICO. I think ICO alert. There's another one, and it seems like there's 4 or 5 for every industry.
Right.
But yeah, when are they releasing the tokens anyway for food?
December.
December. Okay.
December.
Now, was that the pre-ICO that we pulled in, or no? Or was that the actual
it
sale?
was the ICO.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I really wish
Wait. No. It was the pre-sale.
Okay.
It was the pre-sale.
But the ICO was since ended, right?
No, the ICO is going to happen in September.
Okay. So I think I might buy into more because I only had a little bit to spare at the time, but I've since acquired some more Ethereum, so I think that would be another good long-term hold. You know, Cliff, that was the first or second one in Cliff's September report, so, or August I should say, but so I think I am going to grab some more food coin. That's it seems like a really good long-term hold.
Yeah, and the competitor, I'm not sure about this, but if I remember correctly, they don't have a pre-existing business, right? So what's really important is, in my opinion, they're not really a competitor.
Right.
Because these guys, they have an existing platform, clients and customers, so it's really not really a competitor, the way I see it.
Right, and that's, I'm going to be, I did a video about it yesterday, I'm going to invest in that Wild ICO. They, and roadmap is important. They already have a product. They're actually going to be releasing it in January of 2018. They have a contract with a huge mobile gaming company, so they're going to be doing all their games. And not only that, they tell you what the tokens are going to retail for. So from 3,000 tokens to 1 ETH to retail 100 to 1 ETH. If everything goes like it's supposed to, that's a nice return on your investment, I would say. So I am going to do that one. I don't know if you looked into that at all, but I know there's a lot of gaming and gambling, which is that's kind of both. But there's a lot of gaming tokens, a lot of gambling tokens, and and Cliff says that the mobile gaming tokens, the mobile gaming industry has long legs. That was his words in his last report, so I'm confident in that one.
Yeah, definitely looks interesting. I'm just not getting into that because I had a number of ICO tokens, but they're all locked up.
Right.
So I can't sell them for anything, and I basically sold everything else that I had to get into OMG. Right.
I still want to get more OMG as well.
So I can't really get into the stuff that I find interesting. Maybe even just a little bit, like 1 ETH or something like that.
Just to have a little skin in it. It's funny. My mother sees what I'm doing, and it's funny the amount, just in the last week, the amount of people that I know from, kids that I went to school with, or just people that I know from growing up, have been contacting me. Hey, I want to kind of start getting into cryptocurrency. I don't know anything about it. Can you help me? So, yeah, I can help you for a fee. But I've kind of been helping people invest, and that just shows you everything's really going more mainstream, and it's really happening, like Cliff said it would, at a rapid pace. My mother has been really asking me a lot of questions. I think she wants to start investing a little bit just to see what happens. She's still scared of it, and I try to, not very good at understanding tech stuff, so I try to put it to her, very simply. I'm like, it's like the stock market, but way better. It's like the new .com boom, and she's like, well, look what happened with that. I said, yeah, but out of that, we had the Googles, the Amazons, and this is the same thing. If you know which ones to buy into, you'll do very well. I would like to get her into, some ETH and maybe some Litecoin, and, just simple, just so she could see, ones that are sure to grow in value, so she can see for herself, like, wow, look, I put in X amount and now I have X amount. But we're going to see more and more of that. I'm meeting with a friend tomorrow about he wants to start investing. He doesn't. That's the one I told you about. He doesn't know anything. But people start hearing, when you start hearing about cryptocurrencies on CNBC more and more, it piques the average person's interest. And it's funny because I didn't even know there was a CNBC Africa, but I came across a video on YouTube of it was CNBC Africa, and they have a whole crypto show that they do.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think in the United States, I think we are definitely still behind the curve in comparison to the rest of the world, especially Europe and Asia. But I think it is, it is going to pick up speed, and it's going to get exponentially more popular in the coming months. Not year. I think just in a couple months. I think Bitcoin is going to become a household name, and everybody and their mother is going to want to get in. So that's my opinion, and and it's not just an educated guess. I mean, it's not just a guess. I mean, you just can kind of look at what's happening around you and sense that's what's going to happen. And go ahead.
Yeah, it's the growth, especially this year, has been extreme, and I think that we just scratched the surface. Like, only a small amount of people have got in. So imagine this is only going to continue. We have exponential growth this year, and exponential growth next year means it's going to get even crazier.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the future is going to be very, very wild for anybody in the crypto game.
Yeah.
So.
And Cliff says, people who, us and people who are getting in right now are innovators. And I forget what percentage he said. I think he threw out a number for what percentage of the population is involved with cryptocurrencies, and it's so minute. I want to say 0.01% or something like that. It's so small. So that right there tells you that we're not in a bubble, because everybody, the mainstream finance guys, the mainstream likes to say, "Oh, tulip bubble," or this is gonna burst and everybody's gonna lose their money. Bitcoin will go to zero. That's never gonna happen. I don't believe.
Think about this. Some of these guys that are making these comments, not all of them, but some of them are very wealthy individuals, and they didn't get that way by being stupid or not having a plan.
Right.
So it would be my guess that they're talking negatively about cryptocurrencies to try to keep the people uninterested for as long as possible so that they can get in while the prices are low and suppressed. Right. That's what I think is going on.
I believe that.
Yeah, for sure. Create
FUD, drive the price down, and get in. And, that's what was happening with Veritasium. Everybody trash talking it, but behind everybody's back, they're buying it, stacking it. So, that's just how this works. And it's crazy how in this space, a simple tweet can crash the price of something. It's
everything is very illiquid, but you're not going to have that in 10 years or so. I don't think that's going to happen, really.
I would tend to agree. All right, well, I know you're a busy guy and you got a lot going on, so we'll cut it short. I want to really thank you very much for doing this. And
no problem.
I know there's been a lot. I've been getting a lot of emails and messages on Twitter that people couldn't wait for the interview. So thanks a lot, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Oh, for sure.
Cool, Mike.
Let me know.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother.
Right,
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.